Hi, I'm Bridget A. from Drunk Dog Creative, and today I'm going to show you how I made an advent calendar or Christmas countdown calendar for my grandchildren in the USA using this Christmas cracker with a twist. These are fantastic little boxes to put different treats in, and the double-sided paper creates these fun ends that just kind of twist open and closed. As you can see, I have filled these with Cadbury Caramella Koalas. I've also got some Cadbury Freddo Frogs in different flavors. So I have 3 grandchildren, aged 5, 3, and almost 1. So I'm doing one calendar because they're expensive to send from Australia to the US, with 3 treats in each number. And you just simply put your finger on top, press and twist, and press down in the middle, and it stays closed. Both sides do this. It's a twist, you've got the treats, put your hand on it, and it stays closed. And then I've just taken some round stickers and used stickles to create numbers on them. I've used Reindeer Days paper for this, which is a fabulous double-sided paper, designer series paper from Stampin' Up. And it just creates these really cute little cracker with a twist. Now that said, you could make these out of any kind of paper and you can decorate them any way you want. See, just a twist and it just twists down and holds. The other things you can do is you can actually use plainer paper and put like die cuts or stamps. The other thing I've seen done is you can use Versamark on the edge of this end and heat set embossing powder to make it a bit glittery and fun. There's a lot of these doing the rounds. It's popular at the moment, but I needed a smaller size that would fit neatly into a shoebox, that would fit neatly in fit those treats neatly. So I've now worked out how to do it with a 15 by 15 centimeter or 6 by 6 inch piece of DSP. Instead of having to do larger where you have to use a 12 by 12 inch piece of paper and cut part of it out and then waste the rest, I've now designed this for the 6 by 6 inch if you're in the US, or 15 by 15 centimeter if you're in Australia or other parts of the world that use metrics. So give me a minute. I will put the lid on this and I will be right back to show you how easy it is to make the Christmas cracker with a twist. All right, so here's my supplies for this project. I have my scoreboard from Stampin' Up, my little snips, my Stampin' Up bold folder, which has gotten quite a workout. It's a bit gummy at the moment. My Stampin' Seal, and my designer series paper. This is the Reindeer Days paper from Stampin' Up. It's double-sided. It has a bunch of different designs. There are reindeer on one side of every design and generic Christmas on the other side. I love this for my grandkids so much. I have a 15 centimeter by 15 centimeter piece. Now, for those of you working in the USA, I'm going to put subtitles on this video to give you the imperial, because 6 inch by 6 inch would be the closest you have, but that's just slightly bigger than this, like by millimeters. If you go to drunkdogcreative.com, which is my blog, and go to Papercraft, I will have full written instructions and the video in both metrics. Well, the written instructions will be in metrics and imperial. This video is obviously in metrics, but I am using imperial subtitles for those of you in the US. So I don't know if you can see this, but my scoring board comes with a stylus built in. I've also got the metric plate. This is the normal scoreboard in imperial. I've put the metric plate on top of it. And what you do is you take your DSP and whatever design you want to be on the outside, you put in the corner and you make sure that it's upright. So if your DSP has a certain up and down and left and right, you want this upright on the side you want facing out. And you're going to score at 4 centimeters and 11 centimeters. So 4 centimeters from the left, 4 centimeters from the right, 2 vertical score lines. Perfect. Now you're going to turn this 90 degrees to score some horizontal lines, but they need to be 3.5 centimeters apart. And if you're using the Stampin' Up metric scoreboard, it's 37, not 35. So 3.7, not 3.5. So you can't do it from the corner. So I'm putting it over against the 12. And this is where we start to get 1/2 centimeter increments. I want my first score to be 3.5 centimeters from the bottom. So 1, 2, 3.5 is at 15.5, but don't let that confuse you if you're using a different scoreboard. 3.5 centimeters, and then another 3.5 centimeters would be at 19, because I'm lined up to the 12, not the 0. Now I want to go another 3.5, which would be 22.5, and then another 3.5, which would be 26, which leaves a 1 centimeter space at the top. That's very important. So you want 3.5, 3.5, 3.5, 3.5, and 1. And I'll have a little diagram that will show that clearly. So that's scored. And I don't know if you can see all of the score lines, but that's been scored 1, 2, 3, 4 horizontal lines and 2 vertical lines. Now you have to do some diagonal lines, and they need to go on the 4 squares on each edge, and it needs to go from the top right to the bottom left of each square. So here's I'm just tracing for you the lines. So that's my square. So this has to go from there to there, and that creates the twist mechanism. So that goes on both sides. Now there's a lot of ways to do an angled score. You can use the paper trimmer and line the angles up. You can use something soft with some give and your metal ruler and a stylus and go from that line there to that line there. Just do that real quick, which gives you that score along there. I tend to just use my scoreboard to do it, and I do it simply by putting my stylus in that corner and moving it till it's in a line, and then moving till this bottom line here is in that same line, and score it. Now, if you're using paper, you don't want to press too hard or make the score line too thin, because then the paper can rip or cut. So be careful of that. Then I'm just going to move this next line here, and put my stylus in that corner and just wait till it clunks into that line and do that. You do want to have these lines as precise as possible, because that affects how the twisting mechanism goes. So I've got that lined up and that lined up. That's my third one. And this will be the bottom corner, and I will make sure see how that just clunked over there. So then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 diagonal lines in those boxes, and I need to do the same on this side, again from top right to bottom left. So again, I'll just put that corner in a line, and I'll put my stylus here and wiggle this till I know I'm in the same line, and then adjust that so that they line up, and just put my stylus. So that one, that's done. So I'm talking about these crease lines, which may or may not show up on the camera. If they don't, I'm sorry. I am going to show you one marked out with pen, which will make it easier to understand. And then that crease line and that crease line, this is easier to see because it's on the edge. And then I'm going to pop my stylus back there so I don't lose it. So now I've got the horizontal lines, the vertical lines, and the diagonal lines. The rest of this is so easy. Let me put that aside for now. I'm going to take a pair of scissors, and I'm going to just snip just the corner of this little 1 centimeter piece. Don't be exact, don't measure it, just take the corner off. Then I'm going to take my bone folder, and I'm going to fold each of the creases. And I'll explain at the end how to do this in like a assembly line to make it faster if you're going to do 25 of them for an Advent box. And then I'm going to do the vertical creases. There we go. Those are all done. So I'm going to put it right side facing me and right side up, so that 1 centimeter flap is at the top. And then I'm going to turn it 90 degrees, and I'm going to fold along each of those diagonal creases, just with my fingers, not with the bone folder. And then turn it 180 degrees and do the same. So you want to fold it so that the back of the paper folds toward you. So now that it's all folded, that's really easy to assemble. Turn it over, take some Stampin' Seal or some glue, whatever you want, run it along that 1 centimeter edge, just like that. Find that middle crease, fold it over, and then fold that over to seal it. So now what you've got is a little box, and all of your diagonal folds should be at each end. Now, the twist mechanism is pretty easy, although the first time you do it, it can be fiddly. If you put this end up and you just put your hand on it, and as you gently press down, you twist, it should go down. The more accurate those diagonal lines are, the easier it twists. And then you fill it with your different treats and do the same to the other side. Just hold it. Yeah, it's easier when it's actually filled. Just hold it and twist it while pushing down. And if you push in on the center, it locks it in place. And it is that easy. Now you've got your little treat box with your cute little ends, which you can decorate and do fun things with. I'll give you some ideas in a minute. But that's a little gift box or a Christmas cracker or an advent calendar if you make 25 of them and put numbers on them. And then, of course, to open it, you just twist it again, and you can empty the contents or you can twist it open on both ends. So it's kind of self-sealing. It doesn't need ribbon. You can use ribbon if you want, but it twists itself closed and it stays closed. And I think that is just the cutest thing. So let me talk you through one more thing. If you're going to make these in bulk, like a lot of them all in a row, like I've done, 25 of them, then the easiest way to do that is do one thing at a time on all your pieces. So cut all your 15 by 15 centimeter pieces, then score your 2 vertical lines on all of them. Then turn them over and score your horizontal lines on all of them. Then do all of your angles on all of them. Then snip your corners on all of them. And then do your bone folder on all of them. And then you can just do the twist and assemble and stuff at the end. And if you leave them assembled flat without the twist, they take up less space until you're ready to fill them. Of course, you could do it any way you want, but when I made a whole bunch of these, I did one thing at a time. So all 25 vertical, all 25 horizontal, all 25 angles, all 25 snips, all 25 glue, and then, or bone folder, then of course the glue and the attach on all of them. And I left them just like that, flat like that, until I was ready to fill them and twist them. So that's my tip for doing that. Just a quick example of doing this with some other papers and some embellishments. The glue is still drying on this one. This is where I have done the embossed gold on the edges. Don't know if you can see that or not, but I dipped the edge into the Versamark and then into the gold embossing powder, and it's around the edges inside and out. So when you close it, the edges are tipped with gold. And then I used the Hang and Ornament stamp and die set from Stampin' Up!, which is a very cool set, to create a sentiment and some little holly berries. So that's one of these boxes done a little differently and a little more festively. And as I showed at the start, this is just a gold kind of shoebox size box that I picked up at one of the, reject shop type stores. And the 25 fit in here beautifully in double layers. And it's all layered in and ready to go to my grandchildren to give them a Merry Christmas. So thank you for watching and happy making.